It's espionage season, folks, and this is...
What you watching? What you watching?
Welcome back to What You're Watching, where this week we are all about spying. We've got two reviews. We've got Argylle and the new Mr. and Mrs. Smith TV show. One of these things is very good. The other one of these things, not so good. First up, let's talk about the movie of the week. It's Argylle, brought to you from the twisted mind of Matthew Vaughn. Now, Matthew Vaughn has done things in the past such as The Kingsman 2, The Golden Circle, we won't talk about that, The King's Man, X-Men First Class, Kick-Ass. This guy's track history is great. His fight choreography and camera work in those scenes are phenomenal. They're really, really good, really, really imaginative. It really pulls you into the action. So what is Argylle about? Argylle is about an author, played by Bryce Dallas Howard, and she writes fiction, which it turns out is very close to the truth. Almost like she's clairvoyant. Now, this was the massive turn off for me. I didn't want to go and see it. Like, how can this person predict political and world events? Obviously, there's a twist. There's a few twists in this. This movie doesn't stop twisting. And it twisted so much you're left confused about what you've just seen and whether all that was true. But for that, I'm not going to spoil anything. You're going to have to go and see it, or at least Google the post-credit scene of that anyway. I want to like this. I really do. I think it is a bit of fun. I think movies should be a bit of fun. But it keeps pulling me out of this world, which I go to the cinema to do, just to escape. I kept getting pulled out of the movie because the way it was shot, it was very much on a green screen and there was CGI. Which, you know, a lot of films generally are, and that's fine. But it was done in such a way that it was purposeful, in the sense that whenever you see Henry Cavill's character, that he's supposed to be in this fantasy world, that's fine. We get it. We don't have to be visually told that every time that we see Henry Cavill, it's the character Argylle. The Grease sequence is great in concept, it's a great idea, but it's just blatantly obvious that it's done on a green screen, and it's just like, I would really love to have seen that actually done, or at least to an extent where camera trickery thinks that they've done it for real. It's just jarring every time you saw Henry Cavill on screen. It's just like, yeah, we know he's not there, and it actually feels like he's not there. Is anyone actually there? It just takes me out of it. It's really hard. I want to be more invested in this than I was. And then you've got the twists. The twists, once the first twist is revealed, I thought was very good, very clever, very funny. Second twist, well, okay, that's fine. Third twist, made up for the fact that Ellie isn't clairvoyant. I won't say anything more than that she's not got special powers. The fourth twist, I saw coming a mile off. It was sort of foreshadowed more than anything else. The fifth twist, that was the mullet at the end. That sounds weird, but yeah, that was a twist. And then the sixth twist was the mid-credit scene, and I won't go into that. It was just throwing you left, right, and centre. I did enjoy the needle drops, the funky needle drops in the first two acts. The ones in the third act, not so much. And talking about the third act, there are a couple of sequences which just got a bit silly. I enjoyed it because I like silly things. There is a scene where the real Argylle is ice skating on oil. It should be a lot messier than it is. Again, you can see it's CGI because Argylle, the real Argylle, comes out of it with basically no oil on them. Like, they would have been covered. And also, I couldn't help compare it to what Jason Statham did in The Transporter, where he took off bicycle pedals and did the same thing. Like, it wasn't actually oil, but it felt more real, like believable than this did. And then there's a sequence where there's a lot of smoke bombs, smoke grenades going off, and they're dancing. They're dancing through killing all of these people, which I thought it was fun. It is fun, it's colourful, it's visually stimulating. Oh, I forgot about the train. The best action sequence on this is in the first act. It's the train sequence. That is brilliant. That is everything you go and see a Matthew Vaughn film for. The way that it's shot, the way it's choreographed. And the way that they have replaced Argylle, Henry Cavill's Argylle, and Sam Rockwell's, the way that they interchange is almost seamless. It is very, very good. It's worth any price of admission. It's going to see that sequence alone. The cast is stacked. You've got Bryce Dallas Howard, Sam Rockwell, John Cena, Henry Cavill, Bryan Cranston, Kevin's mum from Home Alone. I feel like John Cena was wasted in this. It could have been anybody. He was basically in the film for 4 or 5 minutes in total. Really him with a chance to pull off his comedic chops, other than when he was drinking a coffee. But yeah, it's a nice day out. Let's put it that way. If we're going to say the review, it's a nice day out. Now let's get on to Mr. and Mrs. Smith. This show got me hooked from episode 1. I was a fan of the Argylle movie, although people now criticise it. At the time, I loved it. I'm not sure how it holds up, but I thought it was great. And apparently there's a series in 1996 as well, which is this is more true to. It's more true to that. The married couple know that they're spies, whereas Argylle's Mr. and Mrs. Smith, they weren't aware that they were working for different spy agencies. They are both working for the same agencies, Hi, and they are trying to figure out what this organisation is and what they gain from it. From every episode, there's a new special guest. They range from Alexander Skarsgård, John Turturro, Sharon Horgan, who I absolutely love, Paul Dano, Parker Posey comes up in this a couple of times, and there's a really funny episode with Ron Perlman. Ron Glover is great. There's a real surrealism to this show. There's a lot of Atlanta vibes. It's not as awkward. It's a bit more subtle, and sometimes it's played for jokes, played for laughs. Every episode is like a new mission or a new couple of missions. There's an episode where they go to therapy. It's all very, very good. I can't praise this show enough. I'm just sad that there's only 8 episodes. I wish I could review it more. I was just so absorbed in the actual show that I didn't take that many notes. I hope there's a season 2. I really, really do. But that's it for the reviews this week. Argylle, not so great, but a bit of fun. You know, it really captures some imagination. Definitely go and see it just for that train sequence alone. Or just YouTube it. I think a lot of it's in the trailers anyway. Next week, what are we going to talk about? The Halo Season 2 is coming out. I don't think I'll review that based on the first season, but I do want to talk about The Dry, or The Dry 2 Force of Nature. If you haven't seen The Dry with Eric Bana, go see it. It's an absolutely fantastic film. I'm not sure if they're going to screen it out here. It's an Australian production. It was pushed back. I think it was supposed to come out in August last year, but because of the SAG-AFTRA strike, it got pushed to the new year. This is a book series, and if the second film is anything like the first film, then we're in for a great, great time. As always, if you got this far in the video, thanks so much for watching. You can reach the show at chawatching@gmail.com. Let me know what you're watching. Let me know your reviews. Let me know what I should be watching. Thanks so much, guys, and we'll see you next week.